thank you for joining me again at CoffeeNate.com. This week's featured coffee is from HoneyBean.com. It's a dark blend that is called Velvet Hammer. It's the organic fair trade variety of Velvet Hammer. There are two versions of Velvet Hammer. One is fair trade organic, one is not. I haven't tried the other because I'm an organic fair trade kind of guy. So anyway, I'm going to take a nice... When I have a coffee for the first time, I like to really open the package and just get a good solid whiff of the beans. That's the freshest you're going to smell them, is right when you open the package. So I have to get my face right in there and just take a big old whiff, okay? So when I smell these beans, I get a good, strong floral scent at the finish. I mean, it's a dark roasted coffee that has a real smoky flavor to it, but it also, you can smell, it's almost like a rose, a deep rose floral scent. It's very interesting. It's a very complex coffee. It has many different flavors. There's some blueberry, some smoke, and at the finish you can taste a chocolate, like a semi-sweet chocolate, not like a... This week I got a question from one of my visitors. His name is Derek. Derek has a really good question. He wants to know what makes an espresso. Can he just go out and buy a dark roasted coffee, grind it fine and run it through an espresso maker, and is that espresso? Or is it just strong coffee? Now, there's a common misconception out there that you can go out and do that, just that, run it through an espresso maker. Is it, you know, a $50, $100 machine? Those cheapo machines are run on steam. They're steam powered, and they overheat the water, which over extracts the coffee and burns the grinds, and it makes a very bitter tasting drink that is not pleasant at all, and it is a far cry from espresso, what espresso is meant to be. Okay, espresso is not a type of a bean. It doesn't use a special bean, and it's not a special roast. Different people in different areas of the world like different strengths of roast, different degrees of roast for their espresso, and all of them are valid. Espresso is just a different way of extracting the drink from the grind. As auto drip, as an AeroPress, as a French press, as a vacuum pot, you know, it's just a different way to make coffee, and it is, you know, a little trickier to do properly. Okay, and there are a few things that you need to really pay attention to. First is the grind. You have to use a very high quality grinder. It has to be a conical burr grinder that probably will run you $300 to $500 to get a quality one that will last. Okay, and it has to be set fine, not dust, not powdered, but it has to be very fine granules. And you use a heaping tablespoon per shot. Okay, and first you get your portafilter and you make sure it's dried out, because if you leave it with some moisture in there, the water that's being forced through will find that seam, find that wet spot, and use that and shoot through there rather than going evenly throughout the grinds, and it will over extract that section and under extract the other areas of that are in the filter. So it's important to dry it out. Another thing that is important is after the measure, it has to be evenly tamped. Now, there's a special tool that they use. It's called a tamper. It's a silver handled thing, and it fits nicely right inside of the portafilter. And you use exactly 30 pounds of pressure, and it has to be evenly applied. Again, if you don't evenly apply the pressure, then the water will find the least packed area, and it will go through there, and it will not extract the coffee properly, and you will be left with the bitter taste again. Okay, you need to have a decent espresso machine. Now, in order to get authentic espresso, to brew it properly, it uses pressure, and it has to create at least 9 atmospheres of pressure. You'll see machines that create 9 or create 15. As long as it creates at least 9 atmospheres of pressure, it will make a proper espresso. Some are obviously better than others, and we won't get into that today, but that's what you need. You can't use the steam ones. You need to get a good pump-driven one, or a lever, okay? And also Derek wanted to know what is the significance of crema. Okay, crema is the froth that is created on the top of the drink, of the espresso drink. Okay, and it can vary in color from dark brown to a golden brown to a lighter one and it's just a signifier of a quality espresso shot. If you have a nice golden crema, that is the holy grail of espresso drinks. You want that nice golden. If it's too light, it's thought of as negative. If the bubbles are too large, or you just want a nice golden brown foam on top, and it has a nice sweetness. But what it does is it actually, apart from just signifying that it is quality espresso and that it was brewed properly, it holds in some of the flavor. Okay, and a properly brewed espresso is not a bitter drink that most people think of when they think of espresso, if they're not educated on what espresso is supposed to be. Espresso is a full flavored coffee, and while it is strong, it is not bitter. It is just a full flavor, and you get to really experience the tastes of that particular bean. Okay, and got another question about storing beans. Okay, it is okay to store beans in the freezer if you have a large amount of roasted beans and you are going to put them in there once after they're roasted whole beans. Okay, put them in a freezer tight package, and then take them out as you are using them. Okay, don't put them in and out of the freezer. Okay, that's just clarifying a point. You can freeze them, whole beans only. I don't like to do it at all, but it is accepted to freeze whole beans if you're not moving them in and out of the freezer. Okay, and also whole beans that are room temperature, even if they are in airtight containers, are good for 2 weeks. Okay, they are stale after that. The roasted coffee bean is its own protective shell. Okay, and another question was, why is it so important to get the whole beans? Okay, the roasted bean is its own protective shell, and the shell is holding in the precious oils that make coffee taste so good. Properly brewed coffee tastes so good. Poorly brewed and improperly ground coffee tastes disgusting. But to get the proper tastes, you need the oils. And when coffee is ground, those oils start to dissipate immediately. So that's why it's important to use the whole beans. And do not destroy that bean until it's time to drink it. So that's why we grind just before we drink. Okay? And again, I would love to get your questions. And I like to help people out. And there were a few questions I couldn't even get to this week, but they are on file and I will get to them. So keep them rolling in, okay, guys? I love the feedback I'm getting. Leave some comments. Don't just send emails, but I enjoy both. And be sure to follow me on Twitter at CoffeeNate on Twitter, and follow me and fan us up on Facebook too. We have a Facebook page. I'd love to see you on there, and leave comments on there as well. Okay, I'll see you next week, CoffeeNate.com, where there's always something brewing.